Coming to you from the mountains and the plain, the only conservative voices brave enough to push back. This is the Conservative Daily Podcast with Joe Otto.
That's what the Second Amendment was designed to do. If you're going to do something to nullify or take away my rights under the Constitution, come get it.
Max McGuire.
When you look at politicians on the left, they need to convince people that they are victims.
A resistance to the resistance. And now your hosts, Joe Otto and Max McGuire.
And welcome back to another edition of the Conservative Daily Podcast. My name is Max McGuire. We're supposed to have Joe Otto on momentarily. If he's able to get out of the meeting he's in, he'll be on. And then we'll bring it into a split screen when he gets here. But for the meantime, it's just going to be me, and we have a lot to talk about. Today was going to be a mock debate. We were actually going to do a debate between with one of us playing Kamala Harris and the other one playing Mike Pence. But what happened yesterday is too important not to cover. I think that Mike Pence will be able to hold his own tonight. I'm not worried about that at all. So today I want to cover the news, the two documents that Donald Trump declassified yesterday, showing that the Trump-Russia witch hunt was a Clinton hoax from the start. Obama knew, and he gave it the green light knowing that it was a hoax. Let's go ahead and put up image one. This is Donald Trump's tweet from yesterday, and in it he says, "I have fully authorized the total declassification of any and all documents pertaining to the single greatest political crime in American history, the Russia hoax. Likewise, the Hillary Clinton email scandal, no redactions." So that was his announcement last night. The documents that were first released do have redactions on them. He's now ordered them to take the redactions out. But this is what we were greeted with yesterday. Let's put up image two. This is from Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe, and he says, "Members of Congress, at the direction of the President of the United States, I have declassified the enclosed documents, inclusive of redactions." So this is before Trump ordered the redactions to be removed. "These documents are responsive to ongoing congressional oversight and investigation requests. If you have questions, contact yada, yada, yada." And the enclosures are, one, handwritten notes of former Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, John Brennan, and two, Central Intelligence Agency Counterintelligence Operational Lead Memorandum, two, James Comey, and one, Peter Strzok, dated the 7th of September, 2016. So let's go ahead and dive right into those. So you have the two things. You have the memo that was sent from Brennan to Comey and Strzok. That's one. And the second document are handwritten notes that Brennan took memorializing a meeting that he had with Barack Obama himself. He had the meeting, he briefed Barack Obama, and then he memorialized what they talked about in handwritten notes. It doesn't get any more incriminating than that. But let's go ahead and put it up. Let's put up image three. So this is page one, and I'll read it out loud. So this is a memorandum for the director, which is James Comey. And then attention, Peter Strzok. The subject, partially redacted. The main subject is crossfire hurricane. It says action required. The following information is provided for the exclusive use of your bureau for background investigative action or lead purposes as appropriate. Please provide a copy of this memorandum to FBI Special Agent, and they redacted. I assume that would be the FBI agent that we talked about who had previously wanted the whole thing to be shut down. And then it says restrictions on use. It says what you can't do. But mainly, the reason I'm showing this page, showing that it was sent to Comey and Strzok. Let's go ahead to image four. This is page two of it. And this is where you really get into the nitty gritty. The important part, section 3. Actually, I think we can zoom in on a little bit. Let's put up image 5. Put up image 5. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. Per FBI verbal request, CIA provides the below examples of information the Crossfire Hurricane Fusion Cell has gleaned to date. Source revealing information redacted. An exchange, redacted, discussing U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of a private email server. According to open sources, and there's a bunch of redactions, according to open sources, Guccifer 2.0 is an individual or group of hackers whom U.S. officials believe is tied to Russian intelligence services. Also, per open sources, Guccifer 2.0 claimed credit for hacking the Democratic National Committee, DNC, this year. That's the important part. A memo to James Comey and Peter Strzok informing them that the CIA has come into possession of evidence that the Clinton campaign was going to use the Trump-Russia conspiracy theory to distract from Hillary Clinton's own email scandal and use it as a means of damaging President Donald Trump. And then let's just make sure, I don't want to be accused of leaving anything out. Let's put up image 6. Not a whole lot to talk about on this image. Completely redacted. And then please address all correspondence concerning this matter to the Counterintelligence Missions Center. I just want to make sure you saw that so I don't get accused of leaving a page out. So that's the first bit. That I believe it's September 7th. Yeah, the 7th of September, 2016. The CIA sent a memo to James Comey and Peter Strzok informing them that the Clinton campaign planned to smear Donald Trump as a Russian asset in order to distract from Hillary Clinton's own Espionage Act crimes. That's the one. And that's important because that shows that James Comey and Peter Strzok both went into this knowing that Hillary Clinton wanted them to do this and that this was a Clinton smear. Now, James Comey last week testified that he had no recollection of this. GOP senators obviously knew this was coming out. They asked him a question about it. He said he had no recollection of being briefed on this. Well, that's not really how it works. If you get the memo, you get the memo. Don't get to claim years later you have no recollection. But the interesting thing is that when Peter Strzok was investigated for bias, what the Inspector General found was that, yes, Peter Strzok is hopelessly biased, right? Hopelessly biased. All the text messages, right? Everything about it. We know that Peter Strzok is very biased, very anti-Trump. He was the guy who said you could smell the Trump supporters when he went into a Walmart in Virginia. That's how deep his hatred went. The Inspector General found that even though he was biased, the Inspector General could not find a smoking gun proving that Peter Strzok did what he did because of that bias, meaning that he did what he did to help Hillary Clinton and hurt Trump, and not what any other FBI agent would do with the same set of facts. That was what the Inspector General found. Obviously, that Inspector General did not see this memo, because if you go into that investigation knowing that Peter Strzok was briefed that Hillary Clinton wanted this to come out, wanted Donald Trump to be smeared as a Russian agent to help her, all of a sudden, you start getting a better picture of Peter Strzok's bias on what he did, both in his role in the Clinton email investigation and in the Trump-Russia investigation. We forget, Peter Strzok worked on both. He put his finger on the scale to help protect Hillary Clinton. He was the one who edited James Comey's talking points to remove the mention that Hillary Clinton violated the law, right? So he put his finger on the scale to protect Hillary Clinton from prosecution. And then, after being notified that Hillary Clinton wanted to smear Donald Trump and call him a Russian agent, Peter Strzok then went out of his way to launch that investigation. And when career FBI officials, was the guy, William Barnett, when Barnett tried to shut it down, said there's no evidence, Peter Strzok says, no, we're going to keep it open. He did that knowing that Hillary Clinton wanted him to do it. That is the intent. Obviously, Inspector General didn't have that, but it's harder, it's impossible to say now with a straight face that while he was biased, there's no evidence that he did what he did to help Hillary Clinton hurt Donald Trump, because he received a memo saying that what he ended up doing is exactly what Hillary Clinton wanted him to do. Really, really bombshell stuff, guys. And I want you all to make sure, hit that share button on Facebook, give us a thumbs up, a like, comment, and on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and then the bell for notifications and comments. I'm going to try and read some of the comments as we go through. There's a lot to go through. It's really important. This pieces together everything, right? It pieces together everything. You can't say that Peter Strzok didn't show any evidence that bias impacted his decision-making, because he was notified that Hillary Clinton wanted him to do X, Y, and Z, and then he did X, Y, and Z. Can't say that James Comey, that there was no politics involved when James Comey signed off on the surveillance warrants, having been notified that Hillary Clinton wanted him to. You can't make the argument anymore. You can't claim willful ignorance anymore. They were notified. They were told this is what Hillary Clinton wants you to do, and then they did it. Interesting stuff. So let's jump to the Brennan's notes. These are a little hard to read, but let's go ahead and put up image 7. So it's hard to read, but at the bottom, it says these are notes that Brennan wrote to memorialize his interaction with the president. So the reason that most of this is redacted is because John Brennan, director of the CIA, talked with the president about a lot of things that don't have to do with this, or that might have to do with this, but are still classified, right? So it's completely understandable that first paragraph would be blacked out, because for all we knew, he was talking about some other counterintelligence operation before he got to these bullet points. But then when he gets to this, he starts talking about how put it back up there, Mr. Producer. He starts talking about how he briefed President Obama on the Russian angle. Unbelievable. And let me read the direct quote. It's really hard. So he briefed Barack Obama, and maybe it's not on this one. Let's see. Go ahead and put up the next image. I think it's on the next image. Oh, so it's split. Okay. So go back to the first one. So he cited alleged approval by Hillary Clinton of a proposal from one of her advisors. It's important. He briefed the President of the United States of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify, let's go to the next image, vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. Think about that. Let me go ahead and take it off the screen. I'll read the full. It's a little hard to read. It's chicken scratch. It's split up across 2 pages. I transposed it in a word processor just to make sure I had it all right. The CIA director, John Brennan, briefed Barack Hussein Obama on, quote, a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. Barack Obama cannot claim that he heard about this in the news. John Brennan memorialized his interaction with the President of the United States in handwritten notes. Right? These are contemporary notes. These are admissible in a court of law. When someone has a meeting and after the meeting they jot down what they talked about, that is admissible absent evidence proving that it's false. Right? It's admissible as testimony as to what happened. He admitted that he told Barack Hussein Obama of a Clinton proposal. Let's talk about that word. Because when you actually look at what the FBI got from the CIA, it was a little bit different, right? It was a little bit different. When the CIA briefed Comey and Strzok, they talked about Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan to basically smear Trump as a way of distracting the public from her use of an email server. The official CIA memo talked about a plan. But when John Brennan briefed Obama, Brennan memorialized it as a proposal. That is very important. Words matter. Now, I don't like to nitpick words too much, but in this case, words matter. He's not saying Hillary Clinton plans to do this. He memorialized their interaction as Hillary Clinton proposes smearing Donald Trump as a means of distracting from her email crimes. Proposes. You don't give a proposal unless you're asking for an answer, right? If you're getting married, will you marry me? They either say yes or no. For Barack Obama to receive their proposal, at the very least, signifies that they at least saw him as that person giving the yes or no. Green light or red light. Go or no go. Now, we don't know from Brennan's notes what Obama said about that, But we know from Obama's actions that he was okay with it. We know from his actions that he was okay with it. Let's go ahead and put up... okay, so let me put up image 9. I worked on this morning. It's kind of stupid, but this took me way too long. And if you're listening to audio version, I will explain what's going on. This took me way too long. Please, everyone, give me a thumbs up on YouTube. Please give me a like on Facebook. Hit that share button. Hit the subscribe button. Show some appreciation for my flowchart here. I want to make sure we understand who the cast of characters were, because we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot over the past couple years about this scheme to smear Trump. Everything on the right, with the exception of Brennan briefing POTUS, we already knew about. Right? We knew that Obama told Comey to go buy the book. We know that Obama requested a briefing from Strzok, and you can see his text messages down below. If you can't read it, I'll zoom in on it after that. We knew that Vice President Obama told Comey to use the Logan Act after FBI career official William Barnett, you can see that down there, tried to close the witch hunt for lack of evidence. We knew about the insurance policy with Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe. We knew that that was all going on, right? What we didn't know was how Hillary Clinton officially played into this. So there on the left, that's Hillary Clinton. I picked the worst possible picture I could find, her with that shocked face at the DNC when the balloons fell, as if she didn't know balloons were coming. Oh! So that's Hillary Clinton. And then you see Jake Sullivan. Jake Sullivan was her foreign policy advisor. Interestingly enough, Jake Sullivan is now working for the Joe Biden campaign. Interesting, isn't that? Jake Sullivan concocted this scheme with Hillary Clinton to distract from the Clinton email investigation by accusing Donald Trump of basically being a Russian spy, being a Russian agent. The CIA got wind of that, and the CIA director, John Brennan, sent a memo to Comey and Strzok about the Clinton scheme. Brennan then personally told Obama of Clinton's proposal to smear Trump. So that's what we know. That's what we just talked about. We don't know what Obama said, but we know what Obama did. He asked Peter Strzok to hold a meeting. He told Comey to go buy the book. He asked Comey to keep him apprised of what was going on. Now, if you're president of the United States and you hear from your CIA director that one candidate is proposing smearing another candidate with unfounded accusations, how can you... Listen, he had two options. Either he says no or he says yes. You don't then ask for a briefing if the answer is no. He asked for the briefing from Strzok and Page because the answer was yes. He asked to keep getting a prize because the answer was yes, let's smear Trump. And yes, when Donald Trump won, Obama was still going after Trump. That's after the election in early January is when Barack Obama told James Comey, keep going by the book. That instruction was after career FBI official William Barnett had already tried to close the case. And Joe Biden said, no, you keep it open by using the Logan Act. That's a law from 1799 that has never been successfully prosecuted in American history. That's how desperate they were to keep this scheme going. As it was falling apart, as the career officials, not political appointees, career officials said, listen, there's nothing, we have to close it. There's no evidence. Joe Biden said, no, let's use the crime that's never been successfully prosecuted as a way to not stop Trump from winning, but to cripple his incoming administration. So I wanted to put that up on the screen. I walked it through. I think I did a pretty good job of walking it through for everyone listening to the audio version. Leave a comment in the comment section what you think of my flowchart. That took me way too long to build this morning than I'm comfortable admitting. But it's helpful, right? Because there's so many pieces to this where we don't really understand. We understand if we look at it in the totality. But for the last couple of years, we've been getting piece by piece by piece of this. When you put it all together, it's the most damning political crime in American history. Barack Obama was briefed. He knew. He was briefed on it. And it wasn't briefed that, oh, we intercepted communications, that Hillary Clinton's going to try and do this. He was briefed on a Clinton proposal. That's the wording that John Brennan used. Clinton is proposing that we smear Donald Trump to protect her from being criticized for how she handled classified information. It was a proposal. Let me know in the comment section whether you think that this is a big deal. I do. People are saying, Dwayne says, Dwayne appreciates on YouTube. He appreciates my flowchart. Thank you, Dwayne. It's incredible. This is the smoking gun, right? Because the whole time we've uncovered the bias, right? We've uncovered the bias after bias after bias. And every time we do that, every time we find Peter Strzok texting Lisa Page and saying, oh, I can smell those Trump supporters. Oh, we want Trump to lose, what was it, 100 million to nothing? Every time you see that and you bring that up, you say, oh, yeah, well, they were biased. But we have to assume that they left their bias at the door. But you can't assume that, can you? You can't assume that they just left their bias at the door, because now you know they were briefed on the proposal from Hillary Clinton. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's go ahead and put up this image 10. I said I would put it up. It's hard to read it in my little flowchart, but these are the texts between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. Let me make sure I get this right. The top one, so inbox is Strzok, outbox is Page. So Strzok says, check out my 9:30 meeting on the 7th, referring to a meeting at the White House. Lisa Page says, I can tell you why you're having that meeting. Lisa Page says, it's not what you think. And and Strzok says, talking points to the director? And Page says, yes, because POTUS wants to know everything we're doing. Wants to know everything we're doing. And then we got from Strzok, I'm sure an honest answer will come out of that meeting, probably referring to whether or not they'll get the green light to continue. It's very interesting that this text message, 9/2, September 2nd, 2016, came the same week that John Brennan personally briefed the President of the United States. Interesting, isn't it? The same week. This is what I mean, pulling together these little tidbits of information that we've known for years, months, and piecing it together and say, wow, the same week that John Brennan told Barack Obama Hillary Clinton had a proposal to smear Trump, that's the same week that the White House asked for a meeting. The question is, obviously, Brennan, well, actually, we don't know when Brennan's meeting were. We know when the memo that he sent to Comey was, but his notes don't have a date, which is where it gets interesting. If those notes predate the meeting request, done. Right? John Brennan's, let me go back and make sure I'm not spreading fake news. I know that the CIA documents have September 7th. Let me look at the notes. Let's put them up on the screen. Put up image 7. Nope, no notes, right? No notes there. It's declassified October 20th, but no note. Let's do image 8. Yep, no date. No date. They're undated. So, if that briefing came before the White House requested a briefing on the investigation, open and shut. It's open and shut. Open and shut. If it didn't predate it, it still could be very damning, because there's no reason to believe that John Brennan was the first one to brief Obama about this. Remember, this is how it happened. The CIA got wind of this. The CIA got wind of the fact that the Clinton campaign was planning to smear Trump to distract from her own criminality and claim that Donald Trump was a Russian spy. The CIA captured that information. We don't know how exactly, but they captured it. Brennan then went to Obama in his capacity as the CIA director. Interesting, though, that he used the word proposal. The question is, even if that meeting is after the White House recommended or asked for the briefing, the question is, are we really supposed to believe that Barack Obama heard about this proposal from the CIA director first? No, it's entirely possible that Barack Obama was briefed by someone else, maybe within the DNC, maybe within the Clinton campaign. We know that Obama was notified, same week. We know what he did that week, request a briefing. And we know in the briefings that followed, he told them keep going, gave them the green light to investigate it. That seems to me as open and shut as you get. I mean, at least it's enough to issue a subpoena to the man. And I get it. I get it. When you're the president of the United States and you're talking about subpoenaing a former president of the United States to testify before Congress, I get that it's a big deal. I get that it's not something you do lightly. But we have evidence now that Barack Obama was given a proposal. That's the word he used, not my word, his word. Given a proposal from Clinton's campaign to launch this, to use this Russia hoax to smear Trump and distract from Clinton's own criminality. At least that justifies a subpoena to answer some questions, because we know John Durham's not going to do it. John Durham's taking a break off until after the election, because God forbid we string up these traitors before the election. God forbid the American people find out before this election the crimes that were committed before the last one. Right? God forbid. We can't let that happen. We have to be fair arbiters of justice. We have to shut down our investigation until after the election. That's what Obama, Biden, Clinton wanted. They never expected us to learn any of this. If Donald Trump hadn't won, we never would have heard any of this. And yeah, people in the comment section are asking, who's the mod for debate? Susan Page. I don't know a ton about her. That's for tonight's debate. I don't know a ton about her, but I do know that the next moderator is actually one of Joe Biden's former interns. That's how funny this is, isn't it? That the next presidential debate, Joe Biden will be moderated by one of the candidate's own interns, former interns. Incredible. Well, this is a good little segue. Miss Producer, go ahead and put up my screen. This is a good little segue for tonight, because we're hosting another drinking game watch party. Yay! Liver damage. Drinking game watch party tonight. Vice presidential debate drinking game. These are the rules. You're going to take a sip every time someone says masks, testing, China, this president. That's going to be a lot. California, vaccine, PPE, virus, let's be clear. Economy, Indiana, police or cop, lie, Supreme Court, 4 more years, jobs, recovery, women, Affordable Care Act, schools. You take a gulp. If Harris says failure of leadership, if she blames Trump for any number of deaths, structural or institutional racism, Charlottesville, healthcare, Build Back Better, white supremacy, Black Lives Matter, immigrant or immigrants, super spreader, and you take 2 sips. If Pence says difference, he's going to say that a lot. There's a stark difference. That's one of his lines he always uses. Antifa, men and women of law enforcement, that phrase. America and first in the same sentence, or American and first in the same sentence. Trillion, task force, manufacturing, American families. The choice has never been more clear. That's literally a quote that he puts in every speech. And Obama, you're going to take a big gulp. That's not a 7-Eleven size. That's just 3 or 4 sips. If Kamala Harris cackles and it makes you feel uncomfortable. If Mike Pence mentions that he's a Christian. If Kamala Harris tells a story about when she was a little girl. If Mike Pence calls Harris, Biden, or their policies socialist. If Kamala Harris calls Pence, Trump, or their policies racist. Or if moderator Susan Page fact checks either candidate. And then you're going to finish your drink if Kamala Harris mentions the fine people lie about Charlottesville. Mike Pence mentions that Joe Biden is suffering from mental decline. Or if moderator Susan Page shouts, which elevates her voice, at either candidate to stop talking. And I expect you to run around your home and drink every single ounce of alcohol you own. If Kamala Harris admits that she's an Indian American and not African American, Indian Jamaican and not African American. If Kamala Harris says the Harris-Biden administration, or otherwise admits that she's the one calling the shots. Or if Mike Pence brings his wife on stage to chaperone the debate. So those are the drinking game rules. We'll be going live tonight. Looks like we'll only be live on Facebook tonight at 8:30. p.m. Eastern time. We go live half an hour before the debate. So make sure you stock up at the liquor store. And it should be fun tonight. Go ahead and we can take that off the screen. So I want to just briefly plug that tonight. But we got to keep going through this, right? Because this is the biggest political crime in our history. Watergate, a couple of cat burglars breaking in to the DNC's office. Like that, Watergate, a couple of cat burglars breaking in to steal some documents. That pales in comparison. It absolutely pales in comparison to what we're talking about here. The deliberate attempt to weaponize the FBI against a Democrat's political opponent. When a presidential candidate is of the same party as the executive branch, weaponizing that executive branch to take out her opponent and to distract from her own criminality. That's what this is all about. And it wasn't, what was it like when what did Obama used to say? When the IRS, it was low-level staffers and where? What did he say? It was Cincinnati? Low-level IRS employees he always used to say it was low level IRS employees, and I think it was Cincinnati or whatever. They were responsible for weaponizing the IRS. Obama can't make that claim now. He can't make the claim that it's just low level people. This goes all the way to the top. It's Barack Obama himself who was briefed. I want to play this clip. Amazingly, John Brennan, after all of this, has decided to speak publicly. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I've seen enough court dramas to know when this comes out, shut up. Shut up. Right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Stop talking. John Brennan has just been implicated in a seditious conspiracy. Right? Shut up. Stop talking. But John Brennan thinks he's untouchable. That's what's amazing with these people. They truly believe they're untouchable. And John Brennan is now criticizing this as a selective declassification. Let's go ahead and play cut one.
What can you tell us about these notes that you wrote about this Russian intelligence? And what do you make of DNI Ratcliffe releasing them right now?
Well, John Ratcliffe is anything but an intelligence professional. It is appalling, his selective declassification of information that clearly is designed to advance the political interests of Donald Trump and Republicans who are aligned with him. But these were my notes from the 2016 period when I briefed President Obama and the rest of the National Security Council team about what the Russians were up to, and I was giving examples of the type of access that the U.S. intelligence community had to Russian information and what the Russians were talking about and alleging. Now, if, in fact, what the Russians were alleging, that Hillary was trying to highlight the reported connections between Trump and the Russians, if, in fact, that was accurate, and that's a big if, there is nothing at all illegal about that. And so John Ratcliffe and others are trying to portray this as potentially unlawful activity that deserved follow-up investigation by the FBI. No, it was a campaign activity. But again, I was giving examples to the president and others of the types of access we had. And I was blind to whether it referred to one candidate or the other. I was blind to whether it referred to one party or the other. And what I might also point out, I know that John Ratcliffe released a memo that was sent over to the FBI. It's called a CIOL, which is a counterintelligence operational lead, which was again.
So we got Joe now with us. Joe, have you had a chance to look over any of these documents?
No, I haven't actually.
So you will be an excellent guest.
I'll be an excellent guest, but I had to stop
halfway through.
So I was Max. I was at the Brotherhood for the Fallen event that they had in Chicago. Amazing event that honoring the heroes of law enforcement and veterans that were killed in the line of duty. So it was a great event, but I'm a little late getting back to the.
So let me sum it up. Let me sum it up for you. CIA Director John Brennan sent a memo. Let's go ahead and put up on the screen again. We'll do image 5. This was a memo sent to James Comey and Peter Strzok on, I believe, the 7th of September 2016, informing them that presidential candidate Hillary Clinton planned to smear Donald Trump as being some kind of Russian agent as a way to distract the public from her use of a private email server. So that's the first bit, that the CIA actually told James Comey and Peter Strzok that that's what Hillary Clinton was planning to do. And then the second bit, we can go ahead and put up image 7. That's where it says that
that's a heavily redacted document.
It is. And there's a reason for it. That's because that was John Brennan, his notes after he briefed Barack Obama himself. John Brennan briefed Barack Obama and then after the fact wrote down his notes about what they talked about. So it's very redacted because they talked about a lot of things that can't be released right now. But let me find the exact quote because it's a little hard to read the chicken scratch. Where is it? Come on. Here we go. He briefed the president on a proposal from one of Clinton's foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service, which he said was approved by Hillary Clinton. And what we've been talking about is the key word there, proposal. It's not saying that this is what we intercepted. He went to Barack Obama with a proposal. Very important there. What are your gut reactions after hearing that?
I just want to know why justice takes so long. I want to know why it's so expensive for the average American to get justice, and I want to know why justice is taking so long for this. Why aren't these people in handcuffs? Why?
Well, we know why this took so long to get out. That's because the CIA and the FBI have been fighting tooth and nail to stop these two documents from being released.
And they get released. They get released, and what are the American people saying right now? I'm going to tell you what they're saying. They're saying, "Okay, great, you have the smoking gun. Arrest them."
Yeah.
Let's arrest somebody.
No.
Why is this so hard?
Let's talk about the crimes themselves. Ms. Brewster, let's go ahead and put up my screen. This is the main. We always talk about this one crime. This is 18 U.S.C. Section 242. Deprivation of rights under color of law.
Yeah.
And this is the idea that if someone abuses their power to deprive someone of their rights, pretending it's legitimate, but doing it for some other reason, whether it be personal, whether it be political, whatever, that is a crime. That it's a felony, punishable by imprisonment of not more than 1 year, a fine, or both. And it gets more complicated if it results in bodily injury and such. That's, at the very least, when Barack Obama was notified that Hillary Clinton had a proposal to smear Donald Trump, right? The minute he learned that, as soon as he gave them the green light to go forward, which we know he did multiple times between September and January of the following year, every single examples of that, knowing that it was BS, knowing that it was a political smear, that is deprivation of rights under color of law, not just for Donald Trump, but for every single person who was surveilled as part of Operation Crossfire Hurricane or any of the ancillary investigations.
So I want to point something out. There's a different set of rules. There's a different set of rules for these people. I mean, if you're listening, just so you understand, if you're not a part of their little group, their little, I call it I don't know, organized crime unit, right? A unit of just people that can do whatever they want, right? They are, in essence, the Gestapo. If you're a part of that group, you're protected. If you're not a part of that group, if you're like me or you or anyone else, you're subject to whatever they want to put in front of you. They can do whatever they want to you. That's what they're saying.
And this statute,
you just have to be okay with it. Yeah.
This statute is in place to prevent against that. This is the statute that's supposed to be used when people violate their oath of office, when they abuse their power. There's actually no statute in the federal code for abuse of power. This is it. It barely ever gets prosecuted because it's very hard to prove. It's very hard to prove. We talked about this before you came on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about this before you came on, how the Inspector General said Peter Strzok was obviously biased, but we couldn't find any evidence that he did anything the average FBI agent wouldn't do. But now that we know he was sent a memo explaining that Hillary Clinton wanted him to do X, Y, and Z, as soon as he then turns around and does X, Y, and Z, you can put those pieces together, right? So at the very least, it's this, which is a felony punishable by a year in prison, a fine, or both. That's at the very least. At the most, it's this. 18 U.S.C. Section 2384, seditious conspiracy. Now, the role that Obama played in September, this wouldn't count because Donald Trump was not an elected official. But in the meeting in January, in early to mid-January, those White House meetings where Obama told Comey, do it by the book, where Biden said, use the Logan Act. At that point, it was an incoming administration. He was the duly elected president-elect to then scheme to try and undermine him, to pull the rug out from under him, right?
Yeah.
To sow chaos in the incoming administration. That, in my mind, you can make the argument for seditious conspiracy. In a seditious conspiracy, 18 U.S.C. Section 2384, if two or more persons in any state or territory conspire to overthrow, put down, or destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, delay the execution of the laws, yada, 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 shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years. So I'm not going to get into the plethora of other laws in between.
Say that word again. I love that word.
Plethora. I'm not going to get into the other laws in between, the other statutes in between deprivation of rights under color of law and seditious conspiracy, but there are a bunch. And I just want to make sure you understand that the bookends are 1 year in prison, 20 year in prison. And then there's a bunch in between.
But why are they not arresting them, Max? Why?
Well, because John Durham says it's too close to the election to do anything.
close
So
to the
he's put
election.
his investigation on hold.
He's put it on hold so that we can have another administration come in and sweep it under the rug. We're headed towards a civil war because people like me and you, we're tired of this. We're tired of it. Right? There's going to get to a point where there's power in numbers, where people just decide to say, I'm not paying taxes. I'm not paying taxes. I'm not paying property tax. I'm not paying anything. The way you choke off a corrupt to the core organization, deep state, is stop giving them the tools to do it. Right? And frankly, I'm disgusted, Max. I'm disgusted that, we're too close to the election. We can't do it for this reason. Can't do it for that reason. Well, you could see that this is really how it was. This is really what they thought. I mean, I don't know how you could see all the things that they've done and not just be pissed off about it, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this is that we go back to the other one, deprivation of rights and power of law. That's obviously a criminal statute, but the reason that that's important is that when you deprive someone of their rights under the color of law, you've abused your power, and you no longer deserve the protection of that office. So we talk about this with police. We talked about it on the show before, qualified immunity. That's the idea that if a police officer is faithfully executing their job, doing their job the way they're supposed to, if they make a mistake, you can't sue them individually. You have to sue the police department as a whole, right? Sue the city. You can't sue the officer if they're just doing their job. But in this case, John Brennan was not just doing his job.
Right.
John Brennan was not just the CIA director. John Brennan, in this moment, I believe, put on his DNC hat and went to the White House and told the president about a proposal, not what had been intercepted. He used the word proposal. The only reason he used the word proposal is if you're looking for a yes or no answer from the person you're proposing it to, which was Barack Hussein Obama. Sorry, I had to do that again. I know everyone hates that song. We won't play the song again, but
hey,
I can't.
You played the song?
I can't say
you
Barack
actually
Hussein.
played the song?
No. Previous episodes.
Previous
episode.
How is it that we have to do that, by the way? I mean, by itself. We have to literally oops, sorry. Phone went off. We have to literally hide a song, even under fair use, or fight against it.
No. We can play that song. I just hate it with every fiber of my being, so I don't want to play it.
All right.
Because it's annoying. And it's very propagandistic. Okay, Mr. Producer, find it. Find it again.
No.
Find it.
Yeah, find it.
I'm going to start throwing stuff at you.
I was under strict orders to never play it again.
Play it.
No, play it.
Let's go. Come on.
Play it.
Let's hear it. Hey, today's a big day, by the way.
Yeah, the vice presidential debate.
Yeah, it's a big day.
Vice
It's actually a
presidential
big day
debate
for
tonight.
another reason, too. I don't even know if I
Because
can tell
the
everyone.
deep state.
No, because I'm getting an award maybe today.
Oh, you mean like in A Christmas Story when you got the light lamp?
Yeah, I get a light lamp one. Well, our business is being celebrated as being a pretty cool company. So, the other company. Not this one. This
You
is
know that
pretty cool,
scene.
too.
You know that scene from A Christmas Story where they're all standing outside on the road and they're like, "What's that? What's that? Is that a lamp?" He's like, "No, it's a prestigious award."
Hey,
No, this guy's got an award. Guy's got an award.
Talk says, why do you hate us?
Okay, Mr. Producer, where's my propagandistic children's singing about Barack Hussein Obama?
Come on.
Okay, we're going to.
Almost like a hand to make this country strong again. Barack Hussein Obama. He said we must be fair today. Equal work means equal pay. Barack Hussein Obama. He said we must stay the same and make sure everyone gets a chance. Barack Hussein Obama. He said
I forgot about the hands. No, keep going. No, the whole children sing in
come
unison.
on.
Barack Hussein Obama. Yes. Barack Hussein.
Okay, now everybody, let's sing it together.
Everybody.
All right. I like that.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Barack Hussein Obama. Let's take it off.
Mr. Producer, I loathe you, he says.
They said that Clinton had a plan, so Obama spied on him. Barack Hussein Obama. Something's got to give. Like,
Yeah, it's got to give. I know what it's got to give.
Yeah, well, we want to exhaust all opportunities before that.
I agree with you.
Listen, we talked about getting Obama and Biden to testify because they're the only two people involved in this seditious conspiracy who have not already testified before Congress. Everyone else.
Yeah, so just so you know, they cannot force President Obama to testify. They cannot.
Absolutely, they can. Yes, they can.
Nope.
Yes, they can.
Nope.
Government oversight.
Nope.
Absolutely, they can.
As the President of the United States, they cannot.
He's not the President of the United States.
As the President, when he leaves office, right? That's
not true.
It is true.
That's not true.
It is true.
That's not true. Government oversight does not stop there. And the reason for that is during impeachment hearings, they can actually ask the president to testify. So they absolutely can subpoena him because he controls his own records, right?
He's already left office.
No, listen, Congress has a lawful constitutional government oversight responsibility, and his records are his. So Congress, they don't go to the Library of Congress. They're going to his presidential library. So they absolutely have the authority to subpoena his records at the presidential library, the Obama presidential library that they're building in Chicago. And yes, they can issue the subpoena to Obama. He can blow it off, and they can do that fight. But they absolutely have a right to the records because they have a legitimate government oversight constitutional power.
Maybe.
I mean, it's just like Hillary Clinton. No.
Hey, listen, I can think you're wrong. And after this deal is, I'm going to go find it for you and send it to you and be like, Max, you're wrong. And I won't even bring it up tomorrow. I won't even bring it up to tell you you're wrong.
Well, you probably won't be here tomorrow because you'll be drinking too hard the night before.
No. We're not doing the drinking game tonight, are we?
Yeah.
Are we really?
Yeah, but Mr. Producer, he's a little crybaby. He doesn't want to do it.
Oh.
So it's probably just going to be me alone.
He didn't do
Josh.
it last night. He didn't drink last time.
No, but he doesn't want to run the stream. So it's probably just going to be me. But you'll probably find another reason to drink, knowing you. But I mean,
hey, we got a major award happening, guys. I mean, a major award.
It's an award. It's a major award.
No, I have a major award for our company that is happening. So I'm not gonna. I just want everybody to know that it's a pretty big accomplishment. That
if they hand you a leg lamp, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Just saying. Handing me a leg lamp. It's a little bit bigger than a leg lamp. Like it has an arm on it and a face. Yeah, it's like a Grammy for businesses. It's the equivalent of that. It is an award. Hey, listen. I know. It's a big deal. I've waited years for this award. No, really, I have.
Well, let me know if they give you a Little Orphan Annie secret decoder ring too, and we'll just be able to make the whole movie tonight.
You know, I'm just really upset at you right now.
So, what do we do about this? What do we do about this? Because
Todd says he's gonna mail me a leg lamp.
Go for it. They sell them.
Yeah, I want a leg lamp.
People are saying it's kind of a big deal, guys. What are we going to do about this? Because other than Barack Hussein Obama or Biden, everyone else, this whole other cast of characters, have already testified under oath that they went by the book, that there was no political interference. And some of them have even testified. That there was no coordination between Clinton and them, that they had no idea what the Clinton campaign wanted, and they were just doing their job. Now we know that Peter Strzok was notified. Actually, let's put it back up, Mr. Producer. Where is it? I made this little flow chart this morning. Put up image 9. This is, Joe, I made this little flow chart to explain what we learned on the left and versus what we already knew on the right. Where you had all these people, Strzok, Page, McCabe. We knew they had the insurance policy, right? We knew that they wanted to take Trump out in case he won. The insurance policy was like having life insurance in the event that you have a heart attack when you're 30 or 40, right? That's what they said. That's what the Trump-Russia investigation was. We know, though, that Peter Strzok was also delivered a memo informing him that Hillary Clinton wanted him to do this. That this is what Hillary Clinton wants, Trump to be smeared. He's testified that he did nothing wrong. He's testified that it was not political at all. You can't argue that anymore.
And they spent over $100 million on this whole campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole farce. $100 million. $100 million they spent on this.
Joe, your daughter just messaged me that she's going to get you a leg lamp too.
She did?
Yeah, just letting you know.
Micah, come on now.
You're going to have an interesting Christmas.
I am definitely going to have an interesting Christmas. So if those of you who don't know, my daughter listens every day, right? And when I'm not here,
There it is. There it is.
oh, I
That's
like
an
it.
award.
I like it a
Prestigious
lot.
award.
Yeah, the stocking really does it. I mean, as long as I can replace the stocking. But my daughter actually listens every day, and when I'm not here, it's like being called to the principal's office. My daughter's like, "Why aren't you on today?" I'm like, I have other things I got to get done. Max has got this handled today.
Yeah.
So I get called out all the time.
Those other people that have testified before Congress, definitely there's a case to be made that they lied under oath. Definitely, right? That's one of the statutes that Congress can actually refer. A lot of people don't know this, but Congress has the ability to refer people for prosecution. So usually the way it works is that the FBI will investigate something, they'll run it up the chain of command, it'll go to the DOJ, it'll go to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the U.S. Attorney's Office gets to decide whether or not they want to pursue a case. But the way the statute works is that when Congress refers someone for prosecution, it bypasses the DOJ hierarchy, it bypasses the FBI and goes directly to the U.S. Attorney's Office for prosecution. And actually, the statute doesn't give any room for them to decide whether or not they want to take the case. Now, they can ignore the case and not prosecute it, but they can't stop it from reaching the U.S. Attorney's Office. So Congress absolutely has a case to go after Peter Strzok, to go after Lisa Page, to go after Andrew McCabe. Last week, James Comey said he had no recollection of this document that we just showed.
How many times
no one
that
actually
guy
believes
say
that.
But he had enough to actually write a book.
Yeah, he had enough recollection when it was time to get paid by Simon and Schuster, but he doesn't have enough recollection when he's actually on the hot seat facing potential prosecution. Interesting how that works. But yeah, so there's lots of ways to get at this, but I don't think the Republicans actually want to get at this, right? Because Trump has been in office for 4 years, and he had to just fight tooth and nail. He had to replace two. He had to install a second director of national intelligence to get this done, right? To this day, the CIA and FBI heads are still trying to stop this from being fully declassified.
Right. What does
it's
that tell you about what's happening in
Republicans-
our country? We're headed to war, man. I'm telling you. And here's the thing.
Republicans had an option. Go ahead.
I was talking to a lot of police officers in Chicago, right? A lot of them. I mean, there's like 2,000 people there that are participating. And I'm having conversations with them. They're talking about what's happening in Chicago. And they're like, Joe, we have no idea. And the same thing I said before, we have no idea why they're letting any of this happen. Why? Like, why are they letting them destroy the city? Why are we being told to stand down? I mean, they're literally hurting people in the community. We're here to protect them. Why are we not protecting them? Why are we letting them loot and steal and do all the things they're doing? They can't figure it out either. They can't.
Yeah.
And one guy said,
why did the mayor of Chicago put the police around that statue?
Right.
Have 50 some odd police get injured and many
with
go to
no
the hospital.
equipment.
And then the next weekend they just tear the statue down.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? If you're going to tear the statue down, tear it down. Don't put the police officers in between the statue and your angry mob of supporters.
Yeah.
Just take it down then.
I'm going to tell you what they did say, right? These police officers did say. They said, hey, listen, Joe, when it comes time, right? When it comes time, and it was amazing how many of them were, of these police officers that, I mean, there was a couple of them that I kind of walked away from. But it was amazing how many of these police officers were saying that we'll stand by the people. Like when the doors come rattling off and the people decide to stand up to this loony leftist, right? And they're calling it that. They said when that time comes, we're going to switch sides. We're going to walk to the other side and say, all right, no, get out, right? We're close. We're close. I mean, I'm telling you that if they as a brotherhood are having the conversation about restoring law and order, right? And here's another thing they said, Joe, we're not the problem. The problem is that we do our job. We hand it over to the judicial system. The judicial system literally it's a mess. It's a dog and pony show. They get to decide. Judges get to decide who they throw in jail, what evidence they let in. They get to decide on sentences. And he goes, they ruin people's lives every day. These are police officers saying that judges are absolutely just out of their mind, corrupt. We don't even talk about judges. We want to attack the guys on the front line, the police. They're not the problem. And that's coming from a guy, by the way, that, I want accountability. We talked about that before. I lost my brother to a police officer who was lied outside the confines of his job. But I'm going to tell you, we're looking in the wrong place. We're turning over the wrong rock. And by the way, I think that is why the mayor is doing what they're doing. I think that's why leadership is doing what they're doing. They're like, hey, let's not let the American people get too smart, figure it all out. Let's not let them figure out what's going on with our country and the fact that people are being destroyed by a judicial process that now is legislating. They're actually ignore the legislators, and they just legislate themselves through the judicial branch. That's actually happening, right? And that's what we're dealing with now. I mean, literally, it's what we're dealing with now. I'm angry.
Yeah.
But today, I can't get too angry because it's a big day. Because the vice presidential debate. And I got a big award. And if I didn't say it before, I might get a big award. I get that award. I get to touch that.
So, Mr. Producer, are you ready to play that audio? So, I'll tell you when. I'll trigger it. So, we have big news. As we've been saying, we've been telling you guys to make sure you subscribe to the audio version of the podcast. Make sure you leave us reviews on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you do it. It's been great. We're moving up in the rankings. Yes. Got absolutely fantastic news today that we have now reached number 28 in Thailand, or as Donald Trump might call it, Thailand. We are the number 28th most popular political podcast in Thailand. So, Mr. Producer, go ahead and put up my screen, and then let's play the Thai national anthem in recognition to our apparently large Thai fan base. We're going to do the whole thing.
Oh, gosh. It's long.
Listen, we asked people to subscribe, and the Thai people responded in mass.
Have you been to Thailand?
Awesome. No.
They are ridiculously awesome people.
Yeah.
And the food is amazing. The people are awesome. Yeah, it's a great place. It actually is a great place. I wonder if it's all the people I met when I've been over there several times. And it is an amazing place. And it's a lot of fun.
So that was in recognition of our moving up in the political podcast rankings on Apple Podcasts in the country of Thailand. We are now number 28. I appreciate it. That'll probably change. We probably had one episode that just a lot of people listen to in Thailand. I do want to recommend everyone, though, if you're American, also listen to our podcast. Also subscribe to our podcast. Apple Podcasts is where we have the best ranking. That's where most people listen to it. But you can do it on a lot of places. You can also do it on Google Play. You can do it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podbean. So check us out there. Even if you watch live, make sure that you also subscribe to the audio version of the podcast as well. Well, that's going to be it for this episode of the podcast. Let me know what you thought about it. This is big news. Hopefully, these Obama crimes now are out in the open, don't go unpunished. We've talked a lot on the show about Barack Obama deserving prosecution. This is about as open and shut, smoking gun of a case as it can get. So let us know what you think.
Hey.
And make sure that you like, comment, and share this. And on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and then hit the bell for notifications. Final word, Joe.
I want to answer the question of whether or not this is the official Thai dance. It is not, but it is pretty close to awesomeness. So I know that if they're downloading the podcast, they're not going to see my awesome dance, but they can come to Facebook, Parler, or YouTube to watch it. But I want to say this. Look, we have got to do some major things inside of our society, and we've watched this happen, this degradation happen over decades, right? We've just went to sleep, spent too much time working, just thought that it would take care of itself, that people couldn't be this evil and this stupid. Well, they are that evil and they are that stupid, right? So we have to stand up. So this fight's just beginning, and after the election, it's going to get even more pronounced. But we're fighting on every angle, right? We're fighting the media, we're fighting technology, we're fighting just crappy people in our community. So I just want to encourage you and say, look, God is good. He literally, if you invite him back into our society, back into our schools, back into the things we do, there's an immense amount of things that can be accomplished. If you don't invite God to help you on any things, he can't be there, right? So I just want to just encourage you to say, listen, all hope is not lost. And courage is as infectious as fear, and just have courage and stand up for your community.
Richard,
And I'm getting an
I'm
award.
sorry. We went early today, Richard, because Joe is getting a prestigious award tonight.
Hey, I'm getting
so we had to go a little bit early.
Why are you mocking me? Come on now. I can't believe you would do that to me, really. I'm really hurt. I'm
fabulous
offended.
award.
It is a fabulous
So
award.
we went live an hour early. I apologize. You can rewatch it though.
Yeah, you
was
can
good.
watch it.
So that's going to be it for this edition of the podcast. I went through all of the places you can subscribe the audio version. Make sure you do, please. And if you have an iPhone or MacBook, make sure you also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Help us get that review higher. 5 stars if you can. Be very appreciated. Also, make sure that you like and follow our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the bell for notifications. Also, if you're on Parler, follow us at Conservative Daily. We'll be happy to follow you back. There's a link for you to check out our store if you want to support some of the merch and help support the channel. Also, there's a link to subscribe to our email newsletter. Very important. If we do eventually get taken down by Facebook or YouTube, that's how we're going to rally support and figure out how to keep the show going. So make sure that you sign up for our email newsletter as well. I think I went through everything. So again, my name is Max McGuire.
And this is Joe Otto.
And remember that the fight to take back our country clearly isn't over, but the only way we win is if we all stand up and fight together.